If you're trying to hire people, you already know it's hard to find them. This has nothing to do with qualifications when I'm saying this. There's just a shortage of people who are in the job market. Now, there's some interesting data that the government provided that outlines some of the reasons why this exists. Because from the time of the beginning of the pandemic until now, the labor force participation rate has gone down. And it translates into we've gone from, let's say, 63% participation to 61.8%, or 63.5% to 61.8%. Sorry, I needed to find the numbers here. If you look at private data, well, public data says there are 3.6 million fewer workers now than there were in February 2020. There's some private economists who say it could be as much as 6 million fewer workers than there were at the beginning of the pandemic in February 2020. I'm going to work with the government numbers. Where did these people go? Well, 400,000 died. Of the 800,000 people who've died as a result of COVID-19, half of them were of working age. Rest were primarily older, there are a few younger, but primarily retired out of the workforce. So that's 400,000 of the 3.6 million. Where are the rest? 2.4 million are older workers. Catch that one. 2.4 million are older workers who retired early by choice because they could financially, or were kind of forced to because they got axed at the beginning of the outbreak and they couldn't find anything and they'd pretty well given up. So it's a forced reduction in the workforce. And when you hear those numbers, that's 2/3 of the missing people. There are moms who have given up the idea of being a mom and having a career. It's too exhausting for them. Dad has gone back to work. From the standpoint of others, there are part-timers who work in low-wage industries like the restaurant industry where there's just not a lot of motivation to go back to it. Many of these folks weren't making a lot of money and found jobs in other areas because they needed to in order to pay their bills. They were the ones who were trying to find work and couldn't do it during the pandemic. So what can you do? Because this is really the question of what can you do? And the answer really comes down to is start looking more carefully at older workers. And they may not have the skills for some of these staff level positions that you have. And they may, and you're assuming that they don't. They may have spent the last year reskilling themselves for work that's more staff level because many of them are older and gotten to management roles. You need to open yourself up to different possibilities because you have fewer choices. What can you do differently in your evaluation? When people talk with you about work-life balance, you may shrug your shoulders and go, oh, work-life balance, we work 70 hours a week around here. Maybe you need to have people who are willing to work 45 or 50 hours a week instead of 70 to get some of your work done. Whatever it is, you have to approach this differently than you have up until this point because what you're doing isn't working. So you have a choice to either keep doing the same thing or look for different alternatives because until people are ready to return to the workforce, which as long as COVID's going on, you're losing a lot of people here. There's no indication that folks are coming back into the workforce. So hope you find this a helpful lesson for you. I hope you can act on it. Maybe you set up a group within your organization to start talking about alternative approaches to hiring and evaluating talent given the new reality that everyone is facing. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm a career and leadership coach. If you're interested in my coaching you with regard to hiring, if you're looking for a job yourself, your own job search, management, leadership, dealing with a workplace issue, you can schedule time at my website at thebiggamehunter.us, and we can do a session there, and I'd be happy to help. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Hope to be able to help you. Hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great.